Hi again, everybody. I think it's 2 p.m. and UK time, and we are ready to start. First of all, congratulations to all of the startups who participated, and especially the winners of each track. We are finalizing the winner of the last panel, so he will be joining shortly. I think let's kick it off with the grand final VC panel. We've got an esteemed panel of investors from Europe and Israel. And let me maybe introduce you and start with Marta from KKR. And please introduce yourself and tell everybody where you guys are focusing these days.
Absolutely. Great to meet you, everyone. Marta, have been with KKR since 2016, currently a principal on the growth team. We focus on Series B plus late stage financing, anything from 50 million onwards, pretty diversified mandate. The fund is actually global, around 2.8 billion deployed across North America and Europe. 80% tends to be in B2B, kind of 20% in B2C, but originally myself, I'm from Poland and moved to the UK kind of a couple of years back. But really excited to meet everyone and meet all the startups.
Thank you, Marta. Tomer from Viola, representing Israeli side of things today.
Yeah, hi all. Nice to meet you. Thank you, Anton, and thanks for the opportunity to be here. My name is Tomer. I'm working at Viola Growth. This is as you can guess, the growth arm of Viola Fund. We are focusing on around B2D, in general, any enterprise software company, cyber, DevOps, vertical software, fintech. And we are proud co-investors of Flashpoint together at Guesty, which is a very successful company at our portfolio. And that's all. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Tomer. Next, we've got Joshua from Target Global. Joshua, the floor is yours.
Absolutely. Thanks, Anton. Pleasure to meet everyone. Josh here from Target Global. We are a pan-European venture capital fund managing 3.5 billion euros, investing primarily across Europe, vertically focused in insurtech, fintech, marketplaces, but opportunistically look at various other sectors, such as DevOps and software related tools.
Great. And last but not least is Dan from VNV Global. Dan,
Hi, Anton. Thank you. Hi, all. Thanks for having us. So my name is Dan. I have an entrepreneurial operator background, but joined VNV about 2 years ago. VNV is a listed permanent capital entity. We mostly invest in network effects related companies, so a lot of marketplaces, but we every now and then also venture outside of that. So we do a lot in health, in mobility, marketplaces, but also software. So yeah, great to be here. Thank you.
All right. So as you see, we've got a lot of different investors across different regions. So I think it will be quite interesting to hear the questions and see the ultimate winner of SummerSaaS this year. So without more waiting, let us kick off with the grand finale from Oleg from Carbon Space to present first. And just so you guys understand the order, Helping Minds going second, Abilia going third, Blue Space going fourth, and the winner, APSI going last on the previous panel. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Anton. It's great to open the show today. And let me know if you can see my screen.
Yeah, before I let you join, just to keep it on time, guys, you guys all have about 3 minutes to present. We are trying not to be extremely strict, but keep in mind that we're trying to get within like 3 minutes twice.
Okay, 3 minutes now. Yeah. All right. So yeah, let me then start. So can you see the full screen?
Yep.
Okay, great. So yeah, I'm Oleg. I'm the Chief Innovation Officer and co-founder of Carbon Space. Carbon Space is the satellite and AI-powered platform helping food producers to track carbon footprint and reach climate goals in their supply chains. So food supply chains accounts for almost a quarter of global greenhouse gas emissions, but at the same time, they possess almost a half of emission reduction potential by 2050. And this important and huge market is driven by several factors, such as legislation, including some like deforestation and carbon law that European Union is accepting. Then it's about ESG considerations for the food producers. And of course, it's about consumer demand for more sustainable products. Out of this large market, we are targeting on the food supply chains, mostly in the US, Brazil, and Southeast Asia. Our major customers are large food corporates like Nestle and PepsiCo's of this world. We have two major buyers in the corporates. The first is sustainability departments that are aiming to reach their net zero targets and generate carbon claims. And the second and even more important buyer is the procurement department. And we help them to select suppliers based on their carbon footprint and build fair incentive systems. Our business model is annual subscription per hectare of monitored land. We are targeting enterprise segments, so the check sizes are about 50K, and the scaling and sales cycle is 3 to 6 months. Last year, we went from 20,000 euros to 300,000 annual recurrent revenue, and this year we are aiming to be close to 1 million ARR. Verification and certification is important for this market. We have a peer-reviewed science-based approach, and we are completing the ISO certification at the moment, also going through the certification process of several voluntary players. Our key advantage is the technology stack. We are combining the data from satellites with the ground data from FluxNet stations. We are using hundreds of FluxNet stations globally to provide historical carbon footprint data for any areas above 1 hectare anywhere in the world. Competitive landscape is quite dynamic. Our major advantages is that we are providing the primary data that's direct estimations, so no emission factors, no proxies, and this approach is applicable to any ecosystem from agriculture to forestry and anything in between. We have a brilliant team behind the company. We have a team of serial entrepreneurs and space scientists. Our CEO has a very extended experience with like food corporates, working for Nestle, Ferrero, Barry Callebaut, and we have head of science who was the team lead at NASA JPL. So on the fundraising side, we recently raised another 1 million euro. We have a runway for another 12 months. But of course, we want to grow faster, and we are going to start the next fundraising campaign in about a quarter. Of course, happy to get in touch in the meantime, provide more data about Carbon Space and our journey. But yeah, for today, thanks a lot for your attention and happy to answer your questions.
Thank you, Oleg. If there are any questions from our esteemed panelists, please feel to ask.
I think one question that I would have here, Oleg, is particularly on the competitive dynamics, right? What were the market segments that you said you focus on?
Yeah, that's mostly about like insetting. So there are like carbon credits, that's about offsetting.
Sure.
And there are like insetting claims that are important for the corporates. So we are mostly focusing on the corporates, providing insetting claims for them, providing baselines. That's why like ISO certification is the one, and JG protocol are the standards that are driving adoption in these industries.
And
got it.
Question, what moves the market in your opinion mostly? Is that a regulatory framework that that ESG compliance on the funds level and investors level? Is that or there's any other drivers that are pushing the market adoption of the product?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think legislation, of course, is very important, and we can see some nice progress because of the deforestation law that European Union is accepting. It should come into force in like 1.5 years, but the players are already preparing for it. The next will come carbon law of European Union. And yeah, of course, like all the different like countries are working on legislation. Some of them are implementing like carbon taxes. Some of them are implementing carbon incentives. So that's very like dynamic industry, but we see that yeah, like a lot of consensus is like onboarded during last years. More and more companies and countries understand that yeah, that's the only way to go.
Can you please share more? Sorry.
Go ahead, Tomer. Go ahead.
Can you please share more information about the data that you are collecting? Is it unique, and how you like can build an entry barrier and that someone else won't do it tomorrow?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we are taking satellite data, so nothing too crazy here, Sentinels, Landsats, this kind of data. But what is important is how we ground truth the data. We use FluxNet network. There are like several hundreds of stations. That's very well developed tech. And the stations provide the carbon footprint data on the hourly basis. So technically, that's the most powerful data set that you can find anywhere. And we have a peer-reviewed publication of how we combine this data with the satellite data. And based on the like opinions from the like leading scientists, we are at least like 1.5 years ahead of other companies in the way how we like use this network and combine it with the satellite data.
Yeah, one question for me. So the about the actual product or the actual data that the person in the sustainability department looks at. What are you actually, or like, what is the data they are looking for, and are you providing that data? That's question number one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so basically, many of them have net zero targets, right? So, for example, like Nestle want to become net zero by 2050, and then they have some intermediary targets. And the largest part of the carbon footprint is coming from the supply chain. So it could be the case that like 20% is coming from the core operations, but then 80% is coming from the supply chain. And they have very limited visibility on even the data about the supply chain. So we are providing very quick mapping of this data. So we just need to have the like area location, and then we can provide the data for basically any location in the world. And then, of course, the next step is how they can go from the baseline to improvements, how they can reduce the carbon footprint and account for it in the net zero targets. So that's basically the major like use case for the sustainability department.
Got it.
There is
and
also
I guess
a use
that's the
case
same for the also the use case for the procurement.
Yeah, for procurement, it's a bit different. They want to find like champion suppliers. They want to find like diverse suppliers. And then, of course, they want to incentivize the champion suppliers. They want to either improve the like worst suppliers or like replace them by someone else. So yeah, that's a bit different, but yeah, in the end, the goal is to decarbonize.
Got it.
All right, Alec, thank you so much for the pitch. The next is coming up, Nathan from Helping Minds.
Yes, hello. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Great. So good afternoon. My name is Nathan Margulis. I am CEO of Helping Minds. And we are on a mission of making quality specialized mental health care affordable and accessible by augmenting human therapists with technology. To date, we saw over 5,000 paying patients with great clinical outcomes, and we bootstrapped our way to over 800K ARR. We're profitable, and we're looking for seed funding to scale our model. So I will talk to you about mental health. It affects 1 in 8 people worldwide. It's the leading cause of disability worldwide, and it costs the economy more than cancer and diabetes combined. We at Helping Minds are focusing on disorders such as OCD, eating disorders, PTSD, and a few other indications. And the reason we focus there is because these indications are traditionally highly misdiagnosed and mistreated. They have large prevalence in the population, and they require specialized psychotherapy, which can be scaled with technology. We bring a complete paradigm shift to mental health care. In the standard of care, where a therapist sees patients for an hourly session every week, one therapist can treat up to 30 concurrent patients. It takes about 14 clinical hours to reach any significant outcome, and such a treatment plan costs typically over $2,000. A therapist who is enhanced by the Helping Minds platform can treat 5 times more patients at 5% the clinical cost. So how does it work? When a patient is onboarded on the platform, we match them with a therapist who then builds a bespoke digital journey based on a predefined set of digital interventions. The therapist is still central to the treatment process and supports the patient through asynchronous text communication. In future versions of the platform, which are in the works, we're going to introduce conversational AI and machine learning to further increase the abilities of the therapists. Specialized therapy is a $55 billion opportunity in the US, and it grows at 12% annually. In terms of business model, we combine between consumer business and enterprise. On the consumer side, we have monthly subscription plans, and on the enterprise side, we are planning to work with payers and third-party behavioral health networks. We're going to expand their abilities to treat patients in our segment. We are a devoted and experienced team of digital health entrepreneurs and researchers, and we are backed by a very strong advisory board. Some notable people are Nissim Cohen, who is the ex-CFO of Talkspace, and Omri Shor, CEO of Medisafe. So that's Helping Minds in a nutshell. We're bootstrapped our way to over 800K, gonna reach $1 million this year. We're profitable, which is very rare in today's market, and we are seeking seed funding to scale our model and move fast.
Thank you, Nathan. It's time for panels to kick in.
Nathan, thank you for this. To understand, did I understand correctly that today you're selling this to consumers first, so it's a B2C model before you flip to B2B?
That is correct.
And then, so on that note, kind of would love to understand what have you seen in terms of retention, engagement, and ultimately kind of how this model has helped to support some of the outcomes of the patients that have adopted the tool.
Sure. So we're actually very focused on clinical outcomes and on retention on our platform, which is the same thing, basically. And we've been able to essentially double LTV on our platform in the last 2.5 years. We see very good clinical outcomes for people who finish our programs. Actually, they're comparable to what you are expecting to get from an experienced therapist who is an expert in these disorders, but we're doing it at a fraction of the cost. Clients love us, and we get great clinical outcomes.
Just to kind of double click, on average, say if a user signs up, how long they are on the platform?
On average, it's 3.5 months.
And do they kind of then drop because they've kind of reached a certain outcome that they wanted, or is it just kind of where do they go after 3.5 months?
Different people drop out due to different reasons. Some drop out in the middle. Some finish the core modules of the program, and then we are offering other self-help support plans, which weren't calculated into the 3.5 months average that I noted. So yeah.
Very helpful, thank you.
And what percentage of the people that have started have actually finished their course?
If we're talking about the core module, it's about 20% today. And
is that good, or how does that compare?
Well, we know that in this industry, dropout rates are very high. It's hard to compare because we don't see similar programs who are targeting similar indications. But I think that overall, we have very good retention rates, and we're always working on optimizing and improving that. Just worth noting that some people get better before reaching the end of the program, and they drop out because they simply become better. So that's also important to note.
And last question. So for the 20% that graduates the course, like, how do you determine success? Like, what is the feedback loop with them?
Success is measured not only for those who finish the core modules, but overall, how much the symptoms drop. So we measure symptoms at the beginning of each digital module using standardized questionnaires pertaining to the disorders that we treat. And we see the dynamics of how those symptoms drop with time. Yeah, that's how we measure it. We also have a feedback loop at the end of the process where the patients provide their own feedback, both quantifiable and quality feedback. We gather that as well, and we have very high satisfaction rates.
What is the main source of customer acquisition?
So today, 100% of the revenues are coming from B2C, self-pay. Yeah. So we market direct to consumer using PPC and also using community elements such as we have blogs, we have webinars, we have support groups, we have a very long acquisition funnel and helpful freemium tier that we offer people before they become patients.
Do you see the market like reversing post-COVID? Obviously, during COVID, there was a lot of anxiety built up. People were at home, and especially like the volatile employment market and non-tech industry. How, like post-pandemic, is the demand still the same, or is it going down? Is it going up?
The demand is still the same. The demand grew by about 27% overall in mental health. The important thing, though, is that adoption of telehealth grew by 45 times, which is crazy. And it stayed that way. So we don't see the growth anymore that we saw during the pandemic, but it definitely stabilized on higher numbers than it was before the pandemic.
All right. Thank you, Nathan. Next is Martins from Abilia.
All right. I hope the sound is good. Yeah, all right. Hi, guys. My name is Martins. You can call me Martin. I'm a co-founder of Abilio, and we aim to solve tax compliance for international freelance economy. I'll start with a bold statement. Selling hours to one employer is so outdated. But the question remains, how to efficiently handle taxes in a decentralized freelance economy? There's a missing element in this ecosystem, a universal tax compliance solution for cross-border freelancing that would make governments happy, provide easier access to international talent for companies, enable simple reporting for marketplaces, and less admin work for freelancers. Now is the perfect time to address this issue as the independent workforce is growing rapidly. In response, governments have introduced the new DAC 7 directive. In fact, it started in January this year, and which means that All digital work platforms, freelancer marketplaces, and creator platforms will have to report freelancer income to local tax authorities in all 28 European countries, which means that freelancers will need to register their business, become VAT payers, because otherwise you cannot send invoices in EU, and manage their own taxes. And freelancer marketplaces or creator platforms will have to report their income in 28 different tax authorities, and each of them will have different submission formats. We call our product company as a service, or automated digital platform enables freelancers from 220 countries to start their business in just 5 minutes, while we will take care of a legal entity, VAT setup, cross-border VAT invoicing, tax accounting, and reporting. We have built a modular tax system that is adaptable to new markets. Freelancers can save an hour a day on admin tasks and potentially avoid a lot of accounting headache. Businesses, we can help them to distribute payments to different influencers, photographers, all at once. And we aim to provide outsourced DAC7 reporting for marketplaces to tax authorities in all EU countries. This is a win-win situation, both for marketplaces and freelancers. We estimate that the annual turnover for highly skilled cross-border freelancing in Europe is around 6 billion euros, and it's growing 17% annually. Currently, there are several companies that are addressing this issue of freelancer taxes locally, but there is no universally applicable solution for EU freelancer tax accounting and DAC7 compliance reporting. The first company to develop such a solution will undoubtedly be a major success. This is our core team. I'm a marketing and sales professional. Arturs, our CTO, is a full-stack web developer, and Matis is a certified tax expert. Each we have 20 years of experience, and that includes a lot of freelancing on the side. So we know from our experience how hard it is to manage freelancer admin tasks. So our business model is 5% service fee from payout. It's generating 17,000 euros monthly revenue. We have more than 20 business clients currently, and we're exploring partnerships with first 3 marketplaces, creator platforms. So we are currently raising a seed round to grow our team and user base, and our goal is to enable tax accounting and reporting for freelancers in 30 European countries and become the first DAC7 compliance solution for freelancer marketplaces. Thank you. Questions, please.
Thank you, Martin.
Martin, question on my end here. You mentioned that you have partnerships with marketplaces. Could you maybe describe your go-to-market motion that you have right now and how it's going to look like in the future? And maybe double-click a little bit on the partnerships.
Yeah. So we are in talks in first 3 marketplaces. We'll already work with one marketplace that helps freelancers find jobs here in Latvia. Basically, we're searching for smaller niche marketplaces initially who don't have the administrative resource to handle all the DAC7 reporting and accounting. So we see hundreds of them popping up. There are marketplaces for IT system administrators. There are marketplaces just for graphic designers. And actually, companies dig them because you can find better freelancers on those niche marketplaces rather than on Fiverr and Upwork. But that doesn't exclude going to Fiverr and Upwork at some point when we feel ready.
Mm-hmm. Very clear.
And how does so you guys monetize the consumers themselves for basically needing to report, right? So how does the pricing look like at that point?
So as I mentioned, our business model is 5% fee from payouts. So currently we handle all the payments. And also in future, how we envision it is that we handle the VAT invoicing, tax accounting, and payments through our account. So marketplaces would get rid of this heavy burden. They will take their cut, which is usually around 20%, and our fee stays the same. It's a 5% from payouts. Of course, we are looking also into recurring models by adding different features like invoice customization, etc. But at this point, also, if we look at the competition, they also have the same business model because it doesn't make sense for freelancers to pay monthly fee for something they cannot forecast.
There are several big players that provide other solutions to freelancers, such as Honeybook or Lily. Just in Israel, for example, Lily is a banking service and Honeybook is operating system. Do you think that they will offer this solution as well? And if yes, how do you think, how it will affect your company?
Yeah, Lily, as I understand, it's a neobank for freelancers, right?
Yeah, but they also offer additional services.
Yeah. So as regards to companies outside of Europe, I've spoken with Payoneer recently, and I asked them if other companies like Fiverr, Upwork are looking into this DAC7 compliance. And I haven't seen evidence that they actually know about it, because it was announced last year. It started in January, and first reports are due next year. So we think that we should be ready by January next year to be able to provide the solution. Of course, bigger players can also do it, but if we do our homework, because as I mentioned, this tax reporting in each income reporting in each European country will be different format. So we already are in talks with KPMG to understand which are these formats, so we can be prepared already in time.
And in terms of go-to-market, like motion, is that like a B2B type of motion? So because you basically sell to marketplaces, so it's just outbound, or how do you get your customers?
Yeah, so it's a combination both of inbound and outbound. Inbound is mostly for freelancers who are looking how to register a company, how to become a VAT payer, so they can start using your service. Outbound is mostly sales calls, the direct outreach to these marketplaces, and usually we feel their pain, and they say, hey, we don't have administrative resource for this. This is a new directive, and we're not ready. So they don't lose anything. Basically, their clients are happier, because if they can start using our service, they can also start issuing invoices outside the marketplace to their existing clients or new clients. So it's, as I mentioned, it's a win-win situation for both.
One more question from me is around the 5%. How did you come up with that model and that number?
Yeah. We initially started here in Latvia with 3%. We looked at competition. It was over 5%. Then we gradually increased to new customers to 5%. We asked our customers, how do they feel? Like, is it too much or isn't too much? So most of them said that if you guys take care of all my taxes, then 5% is completely okay to pay. So it's the market situation. That's how we come up with this fee.
Martin, maybe one more question from my side here. Have you considered perhaps partnerships with other providers for freelancers in the insurance space, perhaps, or yeah?
Yeah, we have partnership with Safety Wing. So our freelancers can already get better deals on worldwide health insurance. As for freelancers, Social Security is not like the best thing they have. Usually, their income is fragmented, and so a lot of them are digital nomads. So yeah, health insurance, and also we're looking to offer invoice factoring for those who want to get their money fast and not wait 30 or 60 days. So for these smallest form of business as freelancers, fast cash turnover and health insurance are important things. Yeah.
And how have those partnerships panned out in terms of acquisition?
So yeah, we just recently launched it.
Okay.
The Safety Wing. Yeah. Actually, I don't have stats how many of people have yet subscribed, but it's good to have this offer as it makes the package more nicely.
All right, thank you, Martins.
Thank you.
Next is Marek from BoostSpace.
Hello. So let's do this. So I'm Taras Marek from BoostSpace, the new standard of data synchronization and the only no-code cloud platform providing a real-time two-way data consolidation. businesses use many cloud tools at the same time, and they need to find a way how to make them work together. But in cloud, most tools work separately. So companies have to build files and databases for each tool individually. And the only thing that we can do is to connect one tool to another and to another. But 55% of companies use more than 20 cloud tools at the same time. And connecting 20 cloud tools to each other means 400 integrations. And now imagine this in a teamwork. Data is scattered everywhere, and there has to be a better way. Just think about the way how apps in your smartphone work. So when you save a new contact in your phone, all your apps immediately and instantly use it. That's because the operating system in your phone centralizes data into one place, allowing all apps to scout this location and access this data from there. So why there is nothing like this in a cloud environment, where it is even more important during teamwork. And that's why we built a no-code data synchronization platform, BoostSpace. We combine the benefits of an integration platform and a no-code cloud database. So now you can empower all your tools to share the same data set and allow them to cooperate on the central set of your company data right in BoostSpace. So we are a cloud database, but with 1,400 integrations, real-time two-way data synchronization, and a data consolidation features that allow you to automatically merge data from various data sets. So let's see it in action. You choose one of our 1,400 integrations. You choose which data will have a priority. You create your integrations, and you see now they can override or consolidating each other based on the selected priority. You can build your master data and work with a central database and share it with other tools. Keep data consistent across your entire tool set. Well, we have many use cases, such as cross-channel marketing campaigns, product database synchronization across e-shops, stores, or across the dealer network. And because we have all these data in a centralized and standardized format, we are an amazing data warehouse for AI that allows businesses to utilize the power of AI on their business data. We have a freemium model and software as a service revenue streams. We have over 1,100 active clients from 55 countries. We are a team of 24, and we acquire clients directly through sales automation or through strategic partnerships. We are an official technological partner of Make.com, and we are verified by over 110 major global tools. We're raising over around 2.5 million to amplify our marketing, out of which we already raised 800,000. So the future lies in data centralization. So let's empower all your tools to share the same data set.
Thank you, Marek. Very enthusiastic pitch. One question from my end, like, how do you differentiate versus, a lot of the no-code tools and platforms like N8 that have an open source like product offering while also having an enterprise offering, and sort of like, Zapier is not a database, but it does serve, from the integration standpoint. So probably like the competition and getting through the noise in that market.
Right, that's a good question. So when we started in BoostSpace, this was the world. You had all those automation platforms like Zapier, Make.com, and all those tools. But what they can do is to connect one tool to another and one tool to another. So you have to do those connections one by one. What we build is we try to utilize this technology and build something on top of that. Don't reinvent the wheel, but add some additional layer. And that additional layer is that no-code database, which has a standardized data structure. So as soon as you save data to BoostSpace, it's in standardized format, and all other tools can then load it from this standardized format. And we actually collaborate with those integration platforms. We are a key technological partner of Make.com. We are in contact with the N8 platform and with others. So they are actually compatible with us.
Who is the main customer? You presented three options, but what is your main focus, and who is the buyer in this specific organization?
Okay, so we are focusing on companies between 20 to 400 employees. this is our sweet spot, because those companies already have their marketing teams and sales teams, and they are in a situation where they don't have all-in-one solution, and when they have a lot of individual tools, and they are struggling to make them work together, and just doing that via automation platform is not viable, because it's, you know, still connecting everything to everything. What we're trying to do is provide you the master data set, the central database of your, for example, contacts that you can employ and empower with your tools to share the same data set. Basically.
And who is the buyer in this organization? So 100 employees, and who is the one that you're selling to?
Okay, so it's the one responsible for the certain department. So it's the C-level executives that that want to utilize the data to enhance, you know, the overall performance of their team. So the CMO would be the one that we sell the cross-platform marketing to. But then sales director will be the one that want to centralize their contacts from CRM, Excel sheets, and other tools, and enhance the way how company works with the data.
How do those customers think about ROI? Curious kind of how much would they spend, and what are kind of the ROI metrics they track post-adoption of Boost? And Jimmy, if you could talk about the implementation dynamic, how long does it take to really get value out of the software system?
Okay, so the key thing here is that we can provide a flexible platform. So we have 1,400 integrations for a good reason. For the reason that to be able to adapt to the environment that a certain company already has. So the company doesn't have to change to implement our software, because our software is very flexible, including the database structure, including everything. So now when they don't have to change themselves, which is one of the biggest fears to implement the tool, they can start using BoostSpace. We have a pricing model that scales with how much data they save. So they can start with, you know, centralizing their contacts, and as soon as they start seeing value, they can aggregate more and more contacts, more data, and the price of our software as a service scales. So this is our kind of pricing model. This is how we acquire our customers. And, you know, the core price, it starts at 39 euros for, you know, centralizing up to 5,000 contacts in your database and synchronizing across your tools. And then it can go up to 500 in kind of software as a service plans. And then we have enterprise plans that finish at around 10,000 euros a month.
Yeah, one question for me. I was an impressive list of 100 plus integrations you already have, but I assume there's a big sort of 80-20 or maybe even more extreme, where most tools are used as probably email, Slack, some of those things. And I think there, I don't really see the I mean, maybe for like communication, I don't really see the integration, or they're already solved for that themselves, like Gmail and Slack, etc. But so what is in which department or which apps do you feel you have the best pitch? Is that to the CMO of, you know, merging all the different sort of acquisition channels? I mean, I just wonder, like, what is your best pitch out of all these different integrations? What sells best?
Build the master contact database and run a cross-platform marketing across all your tools. Share this master database with your PPC campaign, emailing tools, with other tools that you use for your marketing, and, you know, have the central data set that is synchronizing data to all those tools individually. So this is the key thing, because most of the companies that we have are working with the contact, but we have 4 other modules. So it's product database, where you are sharing the product information across your dealer network or across your e-shops and things like that. Then there's accounting tools.
Can I ask you one? Sorry, just because we have so little time. But so for that, if you talk to that to that marketeer, that CMO, what is the average percentage of sort of success coming out of that sales conversation?
So it depends on which stage we talk to them, right? So we have our automated sales pipeline, and I wonder how to quantify the percentage when we can't even identify which stage you are kind of asking about. But we trying to find the.
And anything, but let's say call, like you reach out cold to them, like what percentage do you actually convert?
All right, so we get around 30 organic trial installation per week, and we outreach to around 500 companies per week. So this is a ratio that takes for us to show them some marketing campaign or emailing outreach to come back and install our trial.
All right, Marek, thank you for your pitch. And then
thank you.
Last but not least is Turaj from AppSy. Turaj, you're on mute.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? All right, thank you. Let me go ahead and share. Hello, everybody. I'm Turaj, founder of AppSy. We are introducing the first AI-powered app builder. We are currently the #1 LA startup among 350 in LA by HackerNoon. Before I start, I want to share that news. So the problem we are trying to solve is that how can I turn my brilliant idea into an app? Before we started, there was no good solution for that. As a matter of fact, for 1,500 apps that are being added to the App Store, 80% of them fail. It takes 5 months to build them. It takes about 3 months to learn how to use the existing tools, and 90% of them suffer from a poor UI. So if you haven't seen low code, it means that users do not code to build their app, but it doesn't mean it's easy. People still need to go through 4 major steps: designing the UI, setting up the workplace, setting up the data model, taking care of the integration. So it becomes a really long project. So what was the solution? We decided to use AI about 3 years ago, and we built our platform on top of that. Using our platform, users speak their mind, and AI does the rest for them. It takes hours versus months, and they end up with a very elegant looking application. To give you an idea how it looks, I don't have time to demo the whole thing, but it's a web-based application. You log in, then you engage with AI. You talk about your idea. It asks questions to understand what you want, and in a real-time manner, it generates the screen and takes you through the customization until you are done with your application. If we want to look at the competition, we can look at 2 dimensions: level of sophistication and the amount of effort required to build the app. On one corner, we can see a static website builder such as Wix and Squarespace and the rest of them. On the other side, we can see existing low-code platforms. AppSy is the only one that allows to build sophisticated apps with the least amount of effort. Our business model is subscription-based. The price is between $100 to $1,000. It's a perpetual subscription. Our CAC is $600, and our LTV is 10 times that, $6,000, about $600. We currently have traction worldwide. Our current ARR is $700K, and we expect to reach 1.5 by end of the year. It's a huge market. We are currently 2023. We are focusing on the USA small businesses market, 4 sectors within that market. By end of 2024, we want to cover the entire 15 sectors, but $17 billion market. Pretty soon, we are going to reach to global and enterprises after that. We are raising $2 million. At this point, we raised $700K in our pre-seed. 55% of that is going to be spent on marketing, 25% on R&D. We have a great team among us. We've been managing teams of 100 plus. We graduated from top accelerators such as Weiss and Techstars. We have doctoral research in the field, and we have 40 years of sales and marketing. And we have a great advising team. Majority come from tech firm executives and 1 professor at USC. With that, I would like to thank you and let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Turaj. Very timely.
Question on my end, Turaj. When you say sophistication, right, what does that concretely mean in terms of high level of sophistication versus other competitors? I realize that you worked at Builder AI in the past, so like you may have had some experience on that segment there.
Sure. So by sophistication means what do you expect out of this tool? Is it a kind of a static looking application that mostly, or even beyond that, another level would be people just do data entry and that's all? Or you can actually build apps such as Airbnb, you can build applications such as Uber on e-commerce, you can build sophisticated e-commerce application on different sectors. whatever the best app that comes to your mind, you should be able to build that type of app. That's what I mean by sophistication.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
go ahead. Sorry, Anton, go ahead. The model that you built, right, over the past 2 years, this is a proprietary language model that you built yourself, or is this a assisted with open source tools?
It's everything is we built from scratch. The only thing we added was, of course, ChatGPT at the beginning of the process. Is the ideation session when user engage. We had our own NLP for that too, but we figured out it's better to use ChatGPT. It does a better job in the conversational aspect. So in the first step that we ask you, what is your idea, who are the users and so forth. At this point, we are using GPT, but rest of it, everything is built from scratch by us.
Got it.
But in terms of like differentiation of end products, like how different they are, or is it very like templated based approach towards like a finite set of like apps that, you know, like Instagram and like Uber and, you know, other like e-commerce apps, but then it's sort of like the visual changes, the categories changes, you know, through a conversational AI language, and you're sort of like, you know, tweaking the database layer. And this is what's happening, or, you know, how like through communication interaction, like variability of the end product will emerge.
Sure. So you're right. There are two ways that people normally do this: top down and bottom up. Top down is you assume there is a model like e-commerce or a social and whatnot, and then you tweak it to make it look like what user wants. That those type of platforms, the application that come out of those look kind of the same, a little bit cookie cutter looking. Another approach is just start from nothing and let the user explain and then build as they do. And we started from that model. So we don't assume that it's e-commerce or whatever. We let the user talk, and based on what they say, we figure out what features have to be done. Then the magic, of course, is how do we connect them, which is a more complex way of doing it, but we've been able to achieve that. In terms of the databases, one thing we definitely want to refrain is to assume that users know what the database is and they want to go there and build a database. So everything underneath is automatically done and generated by application. User even doesn't notice that's the case. We, in most cases, using the information we get from the user and existing information in the application, we are able to figure out what is the right data model. In cases that are options, like at the business level, like do you want to do this or you want to do that? Both options are feasible. We try to minimize the options that the user has to do. So we give them like from these 3 or 4, just pick one. So we want to really make it so that everybody who doesn't have anybody who has zero technical experience can easily go through and build the entire app.
But like, just to follow up, so the schema of the data model is like different for any different project. Right? This is not like templated based.
Everything is generated from scratch. The backend is a little bit more technical. The backend, front end, everything is generated from scratch every single time.
Understood. And do the customers retain the code, or like how do can they download it and move it like and tweak it themselves, or it's like stays on the platform and that's how you get like
currently customers? Yeah. Currently, we retain the code, and that's how we make the subscription to be perpetual. However, people keep asking us. Most of our customers are smaller size. Some of them are startups, and they grow and they hire their team and they want to just transfer. And one difference again that we have with other tools is that we actually generate the code. It's not a representation of the application. So technically, it's really feasible. We can manually today. I can go there and extract the code and give it to them. However, we don't do that at this point. Based on our plans, probably in Q4, we are going to add that feature. Users are going to we give them a code that based on how much we've spent so far and what the app pay us this much, and then you are going to own the source code. Probably end of Q4, we are going to also release that feature.
Hey, one question around your CAC and the different acquisition channels. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit on that, especially on the paid ones, and what happens if you sort of scale your marketing budget to, let's say, 2 million next year. Mm-hmm. What do you expect will happen, and what are the best performing channels?
Okay. Yeah. I believe CAC is going to go down. We have got to this point really without major investment on marketing. Some ways that have been working for us pretty well in a very low cost have been listings on where small business and startups are, and from there we are getting a lot of free demand to build the app. However, we are spending money on advertisement, and our advertisement has been so far like not very strategized. We have been advertising in all around the world. That's why we have customers worldwide. 70% of them are in the US, rest of the world. However, we are going to be doing a lot of concentrated marketing, especially at the beginning 2023 in the US. It's a huge market. We don't need to go beyond that. So probably 50% or more of the dollar amount is going to be spent on digital marketing, and that has both awareness and conversion. So the thing is, once we start, once we advertise, we cannot say we are the AI app builder. People are not searching for that. People search, I want to build an app easily, or I want to build my app cheap, things of that nature. So we have to kind of compete with everybody and other app builders. But then once we grow our customer base, now we can start like do some awareness that we are different. It's better, it's easier. So, but because of that, we have to spend more at the beginning on the advertisement piece.
If there are no other questions, maybe one more. So, what is the one thing after being, I forgot the name, but of your previous employer, but what is the one thing you took away from that company, from the builder, that you wanted to sort of reuse in your current business?
So the question is, on the previous place I worked at, what I learned didn't work well that I want to change here? Is that the question?
No, actually, what that you wanted to sort of to copy paste that worked really well at was it App Builder?
Builder
that you're gonna go copy paste essentially.
That's a different. That was a different kind of way of thinking. Builder.ai is kind of Uber, right? So they try to match the demand and supply. Over there, you can go there and order your app. And then they have a AI platform that says like these are the partners who can build your app. So there is a level of automation and a little bit AI of recommending what features should be there, but majority of the work is done by people. Here we are talking about a tool can actually replace human in building the app. So it's a application generation tool. So it's kind of a different paradigm that we are talking about. What worked best? I think CEO over there, Sachin, was doing a great job of talking about their platform and getting demand and interest for what he was doing. So if I wanted to like do one thing in terms of sales and marketing, I would love to try to do similar things that what he did over there.
Do you guys think agencies are a good channel for you guys? Like in terms
Could be. Yeah, we at the beginning we are focusing on like individual startups. Easier to sell to them. Not that technically we have something that doesn't work even for enterprises. I was even talking with an investor from Goldman Sachs, and he was telling me, it was 2 weeks ago, he was telling me this is a great tool at Goldman Sachs because we build a lot of tools there. Agencies is another good one because they want to like build kind of apps a lot in a very quick manner, but they do not want to care about technology, but that requires partnership play over there. We are currently working with partnership too. Where I was going with is, yeah, all of those are options. It's a matter of from the sales and marketing, how easy it is to sell to them. As we go from individuals all the way to enterprises, we have to spend more on sales and marketing. So it's a gradual kind of play. As we get more money and funds for our sales and marketing, we are going to definitely look at agencies and enterprises in the coming years.
Understood. Thank you.
Sure.
I think as we wrap up, I think it's time for the panelists to vote. Each of the panelists have their link inside their Google Calendar. So if you could go into Menti link, you should be able to vote for a company, and then once everybody votes, we will show who is the ultimate winner, and so like don't have a drum to make the suspense, but this is what everybody was waiting for, who was pitching.
Done.
Yeah, and I think if somebody has not voted yet, please let me know now before I share the results. But I think we have 5 votes. And so here's the final results. So we basically have votes split between Carbon Space and EPSI, and 3-2 ratio. We've got EPSI is the ultimate winner. Congratulations to everybody who gotten so far, and congratulations to Raj from EPSI as the ultimate winner. And we'll reach out and to say what we guys have in store for you. We have free Amazon codes up to I think 15K AWS to all the participants, and some more for the winner. But with that, I would like to say thank you to all of the panelists, all of the people who've supported the journey, all of the companies that presented, and again the winners of the pitch tracks. And see you next year.